So, okay, imagine you are in Johannesburg. It's 2017 and the local betting scene is stuck in the past. Dusty physical queues, cash-only transitions, and a vibe that feels like you are stepping back into the 90s. You look around and see millions of people obsessed with football and sports. They are being served by tech that literally is failing them. And you realize that in this market, the first one to digitalize the rush is going to own the entire country. But here's the thing, you don't just want to be another betting app. You want to be the wise guy of the industry. You enter the market with Betway and you play a move that nobody saw it coming. You don't just spend money on ads, you dump an entire budget into an aggressive high visibility sponsorship. You become the title sponsor for the Premier Soccer League and get your logo in the biggest teams in the country. You are everywhere, and then you turn your focus to one thing that actually drives engagement in South Africa: the experience of the underdog winning. Before we continue with the video, it is important to acknowledge something often missing from discussions about the gambling industries. While companies have built successful businesses and generated billions in revenue, gambling is not a guaranteed path of making money. In fact, for many people, it can lead to significant financial losses and, in some cases, a serious addiction. This video is intended to explain how the business works and how the company grew, not to encourage gambling or betting. If you choose to gamble, it is important to understand the risks involved and to do so responsibly within your means. If gambling is negatively affecting your financing, relationships, mental health, or daily life, consider seeking out support from a qualified professional or a responsible gambling organization. I've included resources in the description for anyone who needs help. Understanding the industry is not the same as participating in it, and understanding the risks is just important as understanding the success. What clicked in my brain is that Betway understood something that the competition didn't. In South Africa, betting isn't just about gambling, it's about community and status. By making their app look like a high-end sleek tech product, the kind that makes you feel like you are holding a piece of the action, they tapped into a psychological need for a better life. They were not just selling bets, they were selling a dream of financial mobility. To understand why Betway exploded, you have to look at the aggressive, massive gap in South African market. For years, the only way to place a bet was to physically walk into a betting shop. It was slow, it was inconvenient, and for millions of people, it was societally stigmatized. But the demand, it was through the roof. South Africans are some of the most passionate sports fans on the planet. Betway didn't just digitize this, they weaponized the convenience. They realized that if you get the entire betting experience into a basic smartphone, you effectively eliminate the friction that keeps people from playing. They didn't just build an app, they built a frictionless engine that lived in the pocket of every sports fan. But here's the genius, they didn't just target high rollers, they went mass market. They made the interface so simple that whether you were in a high-end office in Sandton or a neighborhood in the townships, the experience was identical. They made betting feel like a digital status symbol. But how do you keep them hooked when the game is over? That's where the secular engagement comes in. They introduce features that feel like a game themselves. Real-time data, instant payout, and a mobile-first interface made impossible for a user to go back to those slow physical stores. They essentially built a digital trap that is so convenient, it's so addictive, and it's so powerful. They utilize what we call the gamification. It's not about betting on a game. It's about participating in a narrative of the game. Every live update, every push notification, and every real-time odds fluctuate keeps the viewer locked in. It's a psychological loop designed to make you feel like you are an expert who is constantly about to win big even when the odds are stacked against you. But it's not all sunshine and betting. The regulatory landscape in South Africa is a minefield. Many were worried about the social impact of gambling taking root in the lower income areas, but Betway navigated it by positioning itself as the regulated player. They used the bureaucracy to their advantage, creating a barrier to entry that small local competitors simply couldn't afford to climb. By staying strictly within the lines of the law, they gained something more valuable than profit: legitimacy. While smaller illicit betting dens were being shut down or scrutinized, Betway looked like a clean corporate professional entity. This allowed them to partner with major media houses and sporting bodies, effectively shutting out anyone else who wanted to compete for the same market share. So, okay, everyone is talking about how Betway became a giant. They point to the marketing, the celebrities, and the massive billboards. But they are missing the point. The rise of Betway didn't just start with a betting app. It started with the moment they realized that if you own the digital infrastructure, you don't have to own the market. You become the house that everyone has to play in. They created a supply chain of attention. They control the ads, they control the platform, and they control the data. Every time someone opens the app to check a score, they are back into the funnel. It's an ecosystem that keeps the revenue circulating within its own system, and that's the real genius of their model. You make it so easy to bet that even the skeptics join the race. So yeah, maybe turning a nation of sports fans into a network of investors wasn't such a dumb idea after all. We have to be honest with ourselves. The way these platforms have integrated into our daily lives of millions is both impressive and a little bit terrifying. They turned sports into a purely financial transaction. They successfully convinced a generation that the only way to feel like they have a stake in their country's success is to put money down on it. This is the future of entertainment, or is the house getting better at taking your money? When you strip away the sleek design, the celebrity endorsement, you are left with a calculated machine that captures your attention. But here's the scary part, it works perfectly. But for now, Betway sits at the top of the food chain in South Africa. They've built an entire infrastructure, they bought the influence, and they've normalized the habit. They are the new architects of the sporting experience, and as long as people keep chasing that dream of a big win, the house will always build its empire. Subscribe if you want more stories on how the biggest giants were built. We are going to keep digging into these systems until the truth is clear, as the ads they plaster on every billboard in the city. Now, which side of the fence are you on? Do you see this as a necessary evolution of sports engagement, or do you see this as a system that is fundamentally rigged to drain the pockets of those who can least afford it? Subscribe if you want more stories on how the biggest giants were built. Thank you for watching the video, and peace.